Hello everyone, I wasn't initially planning on doing a video for this, but as I was driving home I figured, I did a video on Dragon Ball Super Broly, I might as well do one on Superhero, the newest Dragon Ball movie. Now this was one that thankfully I did not have so much spoiled for me going in. Like with Broly, I knew Gogeta was going to be a thing. They gave me a card going in with him on it, so I knew that was how it was going to end. This time I was not so spoiled because I wasn't paying so much attention. I knew it was coming. I figured the last Dragon Ball movie I enjoyed, so I'll go see this one, and I didn't need to pay any more attention to any other news that was coming out. So before we get started on that, I just want to do a quick recap on what I thought on Dragon Ball Super Broly, because it's been a couple years. It's been more than 3 years since that came out, and if you watched the original video, I was very positive on it. I've seen it a couple times since then, several times, and I still think it's even taking the Dragon Ball thing out of it, I've never tested this because I don't have people to show it to, let alone non-Dragon Ball fans, but either way, I stand by that Broly is just a good movie, Dragon Ball or otherwise, which honestly, a lot of the time is something you can't say so much about Dragon Ball. A lot of Dragon Ball is good if you like this kind of thing. Off the top of my head, I feel like the only two things that really escaped that are Broly was a good movie, Fighters is just a good fighting game. Probably that one more so. Either way. So that was the mindset I had going into it, how much I really enjoyed the last movie. Those are the sorts of standards I had going into this one, and it was fun. That's probably about as much as I can say about it. At least without going into spoilers. So yes, this is your warning. I'm going to be talking about the whole movie. I'm going to be spoiling it. So if you haven't seen it yet, don't watch this. Just go see it yourself. It's probably going to be in theaters for longer than Broly was. That was like a couple days. This one's... Demon Slayer movie was in theaters for a while. This one probably will be too. I don't know. So, the basic plot of the movie is going back to the Red Ribbon Army idea that Dr. Gero had a grandson who also builds very strong androids, and Commander Red's son wants to use that power to take over the world. Pretty simple, relies a lot on the old stuff. That's not really what I'm here for, the base setup. It was... Oh, you know what? Actually, before I even get into the story, I should probably mention the actual most striking thing about the movie that people honed in on as soon as we started seeing the first trailer. This movie's animated differently. For the first time, outside of video games, of course, it is completely 3D animated. Was that Dragon Ball 4D ride 3D animated? I legit have no idea. I'm surprised I even know that's a thing. I only know it's a thing because it was a non-canonical, just a 4D ride that ended with Gogeta versus Broly, so that was just an idea they revisited. Anyway, I was not opposed to the idea of Dragon Ball in 3D because I think the pre-rendered cutscenes in Kakarot look fantastic, so something like that I would totally be down for. It's not exactly that, but it is better than the 3D animation we saw in Broly. That stuff really took you out of it. But it really took you out of it because Broly's 2D animation was stunning. It was beautiful. So the fact that the very next Dragon Ball thing they do after they have this beautifully 2D animated movie with a brand new style is to completely change everything. So I feel like that's the compromise we should be going with. Like, stick to 2D. Stick to the art style. The art style is the Shintani? I'm not good with the names. Stick with the art style that we saw in Broly, that kind of animation. But if you want the freedom that 3D has, you've been improving on the tech in this movie, you're getting somewhere. Just try and mix those two things together. So that was probably about the most I knew going. I think that honestly was as much as I knew going into this. I don't think I knew anything else. So imagine my surprise when I watch the movie and I find out this is a B character movie. Goku and Vegeta are off on Beerus' world training, and they're out of the movie. That's just how it is. So it's all the B sidelined characters that are getting all of the attention and the focus. And yeah, that's awesome. Especially with Super, people were complaining that, oh, Goku and Vegeta are the only ones that get any love. They're the only ones that get any focus. And this movie, Broly was possibly the epitome of that, in that most other characters weren't even in the movie. Like, you had Piccolo, Goten and Trunks showed up a little bit, but other than that, like, no one else was even mentioned. You didn't have Gohan, you didn't have Krillin, didn't have Yamcha or Tien. You still don't have Yamcha or Tien, so if you liked them, I'm sorry. But yeah, they're proving that they can still do a Dragon Ball story without Goku and Vegeta. Not without the Saiyans, because Gohan plays a very big part, but it's a step in the right direction, I think most people would agree on. Though I will say, in terms of the character utilization, there was one part of it that did deeply disappoint me. When the new Red Ribbon Army is going over their possible foes, they're like, yes, I think Goku and Vegeta are they're the big, strong targets. Gohan is strong. Majin Buu is a terrible force. And then they're like, we don't even know how strong Mr. Satan could be, because he's in their sights. And I'm like, oh yes, Mr. Satan's going to show up. And he doesn't. He never does. That's very upsetting. Mr. Satan is one of my favorite characters. I just want him in everything, really. The new characters that they introduced, we have Dr. Gero's son, Dr. Hito, and his two androids, Gamma 1 and 2. They're fine. You know, Broly, those new characters they introduced in that movie, I'm like, yes, these are great characters. I want to see them come back. And they do. They do in this movie. We get to see Broly, Limo, and Chi again. I was thrilled about that. Hito and the Gammas, if they come back, I'm not going to be upset, but I don't need to see any more of them. They're fine. Honestly, my favorite part about them was that Hito is voiced by Zach Aguilar. Took me a second to realize that, because I was like, why do I recognize this guy's voice? Then as soon as he started screaming, I'm like, oh, it's Tanjiro. Okay. And Gamma 1 is, I don't remember his name, but it's the same guy who voices Zenitsu in Demon Slayer. So I was like, oh, if Gamma 2 was played by Bryce Papenbrook, then we could have had the Demon Slayer trio together. That would have been kind of funny. It's not like Funimation doesn't work with Bryce Papenbrook, have him in Attack on Titan. It's not Funimation anymore, though. Now it's just Crunchyroll. That was really weird at the beginning of the movie, seeing the Crunchyroll logo, Funimation, nowhere to be seen on a Dragon Ball project. That was a little bit weird. And speaking of voice actors, one of the, I don't know, more publicized things about the movie, but Commander Red's son, Magenta, is played by Charles Martinet, voice of Mario. I legitimately forgot about that until the character left the movie. Like, there's a point where he gets killed off, and it was only after that I remembered, like, oh yeah, he was voiced by Charles Martinet. I wish I had remembered that when I was still listening to his voice. Happens. Honestly, it was there was some, the lines he says, it was kind of weird. It was like Ed Blaylock was brought back from the grave. Ed Blaylock was the guy who played Bradley in Full Metal Alchemist. There's parts where Charles Martinet sounds really similar. I was like, huh. Like, while I still didn't know who was voicing him, I was thinking, like, man, if they ever needed to do another Full Metal Alchemist project, he would be a good choice for Bradley. I don't know, maybe I just also had him in my head because I've been watching Space Dandy again lately, and he was in one episode of that, an episode I watched earlier today, so maybe that works out. Maybe it's for the best there isn't going to be another Full Metal Alchemist project, because yeah, this movie confirms that Johnny Young Bosch has taken over from Vic Mignogna as Broly. I get it. Alright, it happens. Johnny Young Bosch is the king of taking over roles from other characters and, doing a good enough job. I wouldn't be upset with him if he was the voice for Zero going forward if they make a new Mega Man X game. It happens. Luke Skilbertson's great, but I'm going off topic here. Oh yeah, the big surprise like right at the beginning of the movie starts with just a brief recap on like this is who the Red Ribbon Army is. They were beaten by Goku. Dr. Gero created androids. Just to give you a little setup onto what we're looking at. It doesn't take too long, but there's a point where they're showing off Gero's family line. And I was first drawn to them. I legitimately never remember like when this is. I know it's always been canon, but I think it was like originally introduced in like an interview or an art book or something, some supplementary material. I can never remember if it's actually ever established in an actual form of media. But yes, this movie does really confirm that Android 16 is based on Gero's son. I get that stuff. But my eye was then drawn to right next to it. Android 21 is canon. Not Android 21 exactly, but at the very least, Android 21 was built off of Gero's wife. And now keep in mind, I didn't play Fighters. I don't know that much about 21's backstory in that. I know that they confirm like I was a wife, I was a mother. I don't know if they ever established a connection to Gero in that. Maybe they did. Either way, it was not canon before now. And that's really surprising how far Android 21 is coming. I remember being shocked when she just popped up unnamed in Kakarot. And then it's like, oh, okay, now she's canon. Weird. Lab... Because it's a human form, I wonder if Labco 21 being added as the last DLC character to Fighters was foreshadowing this. Letting us know, like, hey, she's important. That's... I may have to think about this for a while. This is going to keep me up for the rest of my life. So yeah, honestly, most of the movie doesn't have that much to talk about. You know, we get to see a good old nerd Gohan confirming that he really does need those glasses. That's not just for show. And that's just so weird. We get to see more of Pan. She's still adorable. And the fact that GT isn't canon means I can live happily knowing she's not going to grow up to be the annoying girl she was in GT. Late in the movie, yes, we actually get to see Trunks and Goten again. They're finally growing. That's nice. So it's almost like they're actually realizing, hey, we do kind of have to push this. They're finally willing to not just stick to established conventions. They are trying to push things forward. We got Goten and Trunks getting older. The rest of the cast has to do things besides Goku. They are sticking to the fact that Broly is still around. And hopefully, if they make another anime series, he is going to be a major player. And, the rest of Broly's crew has some stuff to do. It's not important. It's pretty much just a joke. But Beerus confirmed for high quality taste. This movie makes canon a weird thing that Beerus is attracted to Chilai. Okay. I can't blame him. It's kind of weird. But, okay. I'm a cauliflower man myself, but Chilai was good. I can't blame Beerus for being attracted to her. This movie did not put as much focus on her butt, though, as Broly did. So, we can't say that's the reason. I do want to say this. The Broly movie was packed. Like, every seat was sold out in the theater. So I was prepared for that sort of thing again. I bought the tickets as soon as I possibly could. I think I might have been the first person to buy a ticket in this theater at the showtime, because I don't remember seeing any other seats taken either way. So I was kind of surprised when I showed up and there was like nobody in the theater. I got there like 20 minutes early, admittedly. People started walking in. We didn't even get to half filled in our theater, but there were at least people there. Definitely many Dragon Ball fans. A lot of people wearing Dragon Ball shirts. So did I. So, it was not really a rowdy crowd. Nothing's going to beat the first My Hero Academia movie. That crowd was crazed. But definitely, the Broly movie had people clapping a couple times. Like there was definitely a couple points in the key points in the movie, audience applause. This one didn't so much have that. I will say this was a horny audience. There's a shot in the movie that's a pretty blatant close-up long shot on Bulma's ass. Theater went nuts. They were all over that. And it's like, okay, I admit Bulma is a very good looking, like 50, 60-year-old woman. But man, you guys are going crazy back there. Calm down a little bit. This movie does admittedly sort of push me in the wrong way on Bulma's character because they're continuing with the joke from Broly that she's using the Dragon Balls to look younger. And, in Broly, it was a quick joke. It was funny. It was especially funny paired with Frieza wanting to grow taller with the Dragon Balls. I'm just worried they're starting to push it a little too far. But, yeah, I guess that's sort of the way Dragon Ball always is. They find a shtick with their characters, and they just push that. It's one of the things that does bother people with the series. It's just kind of what happens. You'll learn to take it. And you learn to take the fact that they are never willing to let an old villain go. In Broly, we forgave it because it was the first time Broly was being made canon, though it still showed an unwillingness to let go of Frieza. This time, it was an unwillingness to let go of Cell. And I don't really understand why, aside from, hey, Cell, people like Cell. Let's bring back Cell. Because, first of all, the Cell Max, the new form, is based on Semi-Perfect Cell, which is the worst Cell design. So, I don't know, you have already one strike on that. And he only ever roars, so he doesn't have the personality that made Cell so fun. So, that's your second strike. I don't know why you brought Cell back if you're not willing to use the stuff we liked about Cell. They still got, I noticed in the credits, they still got Damian Clark to voice him. It's like, why? There's no voice, it's just roaring. You don't have to stick to his classic voice if that's what you're going to do. If they brought Travis Willingham in to do it, though, that would have been pretty funny because he's a reproduction of Cell. Some of you are going to get that. Okay. Really, the highlight of the movie is the climax. It's where we get a bunch of characters coming in together. Like, this is the first time Goten, Trunks, Android 18, and Krillin all show up. Krillin confirmed to still be the best, by the way. Man is still going out there. Always first friends. He's smarter than a lot of everyone else. It's really the only big fight in the movie, the reason why Goku and Vegeta aren't helping is because they're fighting each other on Beerus' planet. There's a quick fight between Gamma 2 and Piccolo early on, but for the most part it feels like they're sort of replicating Broly with it's just one big fight towards the end. Not quite as much of the spectacle because it doesn't feel like one continuous fight because there's several antagonists. But either way, that's really where the movie comes alive. It's where you get a good fight. It's where Piccolo gets to show off his new transformation. And I just want to say one thing. Not his actual real transformation, but just his superpowered state where he just gets a different coloration. It's weird to look at because it just looks like my old DVD of The Grinch where the color was completely messed up and the Grinch was like this yellowish. That's what Piccolo looks like in his powered state. And then he has an actual new form where he's got a much more chiseled cheekbones. He's much buffer. And his apparently official name is Orange Piccolo. Okay. I guess that's just something I have to deal with now. For a character that was pretty major in Z, I guess he did need something to be brought back towards relevancy, and I guess it's better than 17's Yeah, I trained, and that was enough to get me up to Super Saiyan Blue level. Piccolo did at least have to do something out of the ordinary. I'll take that. But, so here's my basic review of Superhero. It was a fine movie. It was reasonably entertaining. I feel like it has the same sort of energy that the old Dragon Ball Z movies have. I assume. I've actually never seen any of them. The non-canon movies where you're watching it, there's this just completely new villain. It's just the characters really kind of meandering in place. Maybe there's a little bit of something cool, but for the most part, it's fairly forgettable. I feel like that's the sort of energy those old Dragon Ball movies have. That's the sort of feeling you get with this one. You're just there to have a pretty shallow good time. Broly was a much better movie. But if you are a fan of Gohan specifically, This is probably the greatest movie that's ever been made. And I'm okay with that, because Gohan's my second favorite Dragon Ball character. Top place, still Trunks. I love Trunks. I want future Trunks and more stuff. I'm glad he got an arc focusing on him in Super. But Gohan, I think they heard the complaints that Gohan had been completely sidelined in favor of Goku, that he had lost everything that made him cool in like the Cell Saga. Even Ultimate Gohan from the Buu Saga doesn't really do much. He just shows up, he's strong, but then he gets absorbed, and then Vegito and Goku just handle it all, whatever. So I feel like someone was listening to the complaints that Gohan was not getting so much to do, because they gave him all the love. They're willing to acknowledge the state that he was currently in the series, and that he starts the movie just holed up in his house doing research on ants. And I'm fine with that, because I like Scholar Gohan. But they are also willing to show the lengths he will go when he is pushed. As soon as he's given the idea that Pan is in trouble, man just goes Super Saiyan right there. What did you do to my daughter? And terrifies the poor Red Ribbon guy. He puts on a damn good fight where we still get Ultimate Gohan against Gamma 1. And the ending. The theater was not applauding throughout the movie like they did with Broly. There were a couple laughs every once in a while, nothing I found usually especially funny. But there was an energy in the theater when Gohan is pushed to his limits against Cell Max, taps into his hidden power, and you can just hear the crowd like starting to go crazy, like, oh, something good is going to happen. Like, we can feel it. They're doing a little bit of imagery from his Super Saiyan 2 transformation, which I guess is fitting because he's still fighting Cell. I wish that they had done... You know what? Honestly, what I was thinking was when... First of all, when I saw that Cell was semi-perfect Cell, I'm like, oh, Gamma 1 and 2 are androids. Is he going to absorb them to become perfect Cell and start talking, becoming the Cell we love? No. But then 18 shows up at the fight. I'm like, oh, 18's probably got to be having some PTSD seeing this guy again. But it's like, oh, can he still absorb 18 to become a perfect Cell? I don't know. That's honestly sort of a weird... That's something I'd like to know. Like, can Cell Max still... He's built on the same blueprints as the original Cell. Upgraded, sure. But can he still absorb 18? Either way. So Gohan is pushed to his limits. Everyone is fighting. All right, let me take another stop. Krillin reminds Piccolo that he can grow. It's something we've forgotten about since the original Dragon Ball. Yeah, Piccolo can grow really big. I'm glad that they did remember that that's a thing that happens. There's a couple of videos that keep popping up on my recommended feed once in a while of like debunking Araki Forgot with JoJo stuff. I want to see someone break down Toriyama Forgot, because that is a real thing that happens. Toriyama admitted that he forgot Goten existed. And that's just really sad. So, anyway, everyone's royally pushing their all to fight Cell Max. They're all getting the shit beaten out of them. Gohan's the only one that can save them. You hear the crowd start to go crazy as he transforms. We don't see what it is, but we're all getting excited. And then we see the transformation, and everybody that's in the theater goes nuts. They are in for it. I myself was going, oh, that same growling. Basically, I was in for it. I just don't know what it is. I want to say Ultra Instinct because of the silver hair, but it doesn't have the same aura as Ultra Instinct. And Goku's had silver eyes with Ultra Instinct to match the hair. Gohan's are red. Also, Gohan's hair grows a lot longer. Goku's, I don't think, did. So, is there an official name for this? Is it Gohan Blanco? That's what I want to know. We know that the Mexican fan base of Dragon Ball has had an influence in the movies. The composer of Broly said that the "Go Broly, go, go," and like the music was inspired by the people hyping up Goku versus Jiren. Like it was a professional fight. I legit want to know if Gohan Blanco has made its way back to Toei. Because I haven't looked into anything. I just got home when I started recording this, but Unless we get confirmation that it is actually Ultra Instinct, then I'm sticking with Gohan Blanco for the time being. But yeah, and Gohan Blanco takes no shit. Cell Max, who was previously beating the shit out of absolutely everyone, Gamma 2 gave his life to wound him, not even completely beat him. Gohan is not taking any shit from him. And we get to see something that I've heard people request for a long time. I was hyped to see it. Gohan finally does a special beam cannon. I sort of laughed it off when I heard I had a sort of acquaintance in an anime club mention like, oh yeah, I wish Gohan would learn the special beam cannon from Piccolo. And I made the joke like, oh, why? Because he lost his arm in the Future Saga. But yeah, now that I actually saw it happen, it was beautiful. I'm not the biggest fan of the whole Piccolo is Gohan's real dad thing. I feel like people give Goku too much shit. But yo, seeing that was just beautiful. I loved it. And I'm glad that the movie was able to end on that note, because it at least allowed me to leave with a beautiful feeling in my heart. But not as beautiful as the ending credits. Now the credits, like I said, the theater didn't really applaud. They applauded when the credits started. It's not something I hear often, but that's a fairly it's not an uncommon thing. It was just, yeah, that was a good movie. But there's a post-credits scene that I'm glad I knew about. Like, I didn't know anything about what it was. I just knew that there was a post-credits scene, so I stuck around. And it was also the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Vegeta finally beat Goku. Oh, it's beautiful. I agree with Broly and Limo. It was a tear-jerking sight. And that was the second moment the theater applauded. That's how you know that they were all Dragon Ball fans. The two reasons they popped off. Okay, three. First reason was Bulma's ass. But other two were Gohan is a badass again and Vegeta finally beat Goku. It was a wonderful sight. I'm happy I lived to see it. And that's really where we leave off with a movie that has a fairly weak first half. It's okay. It sets up all right. Second half is pure fan service, and as a hard Dragon Ball fan, it was wonderful. I enjoyed all that stuff beautifully. I probably was more excited for Gohan Blanco than I was for anything in the Broly movie. And again, let me reiterate, the Broly movie is a better movie. It's definitely a movie I'm going to go back and watch a lot more often, because Superhero had its moments, but there's never going to be anything that replicates first seeing it, being surprised. Broly is just entertaining no matter how many times I watch it. But Superhero was good. I don't know why I'd bother saying, hey, go see it, because we're at the end of the video and I told you guys do not watch it if you haven't already seen it. So I will leave off with the one thing in the movie that really pissed me off. Piccolo fails to fly a flying craft. He's really bad at it. And I make a joke to myself, like, oh, those driver's lessons were for nothing. And he says, and then like a second later, he says they're flying away. Like, oh, sorry, I never got my license. I was like, bullshit. That's non-canon, I guess. The driving episode. I thought Kakarot put that back into canon. Oh, man. See, I thought Kakarot had a lead on what was actually canon, because they brought back 21. But nope, I guess the driver's lessons still aren't canon. And we now know that is the case. It is confirmed, and it's very sad. We will mourn the driver's license episode. Let us have a moment of silence. As long as Piccolo gets to wear that shirt again. Oh, the shirts. Okay, finally, last thing. I mentioned earlier the scene where the Red Ribbon Army is talking about their potential threats, and they point out Goku and Vegeta are the big ones. The picture of Goku they put up is just a standard picture of Goku, normal stuff. The picture of Vegeta is him in the pink shirt. I was like, yes, they remembered it. The pink shirt Vegeta is back. Pink shirt Vegeta is life. Pink shirt Vegeta should be his look in every single thing from now on. I'm pissed off that Kakarot was the very first game to include it, because it is the best. Space Hamster made a video about fighters mods a long time ago, and he showed off a Pink Shirt Vegeta mod, and he said, like, this should not be a costume in every Dragon Ball game. This should be Vegeta's default look from now on. And I agree with that. This movie. Broly gave us Nappa with hair and tiny Raditz. This one gave us Pink Shirt Vegeta again. It's maybe not the same thing because it's getting it again instead of seeing it for the first time, but it made me happy, and that's really the whole thing about the movie. It's not the same, but it made me happy, and I guess that's really all I can ask for from Dragon Ball.